The Mysterious History of the Persian Empire. The Birth of Persia. Whispers from the Mountains. Long before the name Persia was whispered across deserts and seas, a people lived in the shadow of the Zagros Mountains. They were nomads, riders, and wanderers who followed the stars and bowed before the sacred fire. To their enemies, they were insignificant tribes of the Iranian plateau, but in their veins burned a destiny that would forge the first true world empire. The land itself seemed alive. Rugged mountains, endless plains, and rivers that carved ancient secrets in their banks. Priests told stories of Ahura Mazda, the god of light, and Angra Mainyu, the spirit of darkness. From this cosmic battle, they believed, human history was born. Was Persia itself destined to play out this eternal struggle? The answer would come soon, in the form of a man who rose from obscurity to become a shadow stretching across continents. 2. Cyrus the Great, the King of Kings. Out of the dusty silence of history steps Cyrus II, remembered forever as Cyrus the Great. Born among the Persians, he rose not merely as a warrior, but as a visionary. Legend says that his grandfather dreamed of him conquering the world, and in fear tried to kill him at birth. But destiny cannot be strangled in its cradle. Cyrus survived, grew, and became the uniter of tribes, the breaker of chains. One by one he defeated the Medes, the Lydians, and the Babylonians. Yet unlike other conquerors, Cyrus wore mystery as his crown. When he entered Babylon in 539 BCE, the people expected a tyrant. Instead, they met a liberator. He freed the Jews from captivity, allowed temples to stand, and declared a law that echoed through time, the Cyrus Cylinder, often called the first declaration of human rights. Who was this man? Warrior, prophet, or something more? His empire stretched from the Indus River to the Mediterranean, from the mountains of Central Asia to the sands of Egypt. But Cyrus's greatest conquest was not land, it was hearts. Even today, his tomb in Pasargadae whispers with silence, visited by those who wonder, how could such power be wielded with such mercy? 3. Darius and Xerxes, builders of eternity. After Cyrus fell in battle, the empire shook but did not collapse. His successors carried the torch, and soon came Darius I, the great organizer. Where Cyrus had conquered, Darius ruled. He carved the empire into provinces, appointed satraps as governors, and built a system so advanced that merchants, priests, and soldiers could travel on the royal road as if the empire itself breathed with a single heartbeat. At Persepolis, Darius and his son Xerxes raised stone palaces that defied time. Stairways lined with carvings showed subject nations bringing tribute. Indians with gold, Ethiopians with ivory, Greeks with wine, Scythians with horses. It was not just a court, but a map of the known world chiseled into stone. But mystery is never far from glory. Xerxes, son of Darius, marched west with an army said to number 1,000,000. Across the Hellespont, his forces clashed with the Greeks at Thermopylae, Salamis, and Plataea. The Persians were mighty, yet the gods of Olympus favored the smaller, defiant Greeks. Was it arrogance, fate, or the hand of divine justice that brought Xerxes low? The answer vanished in the smoke of burning ships and broken spears. IV. Wars with Greece, shadows of the West. The Greco-Persian Wars became legend. To the Greeks, it was freedom against tyranny. To the Persians, it was the natural order of the universe, the king of kings demanding tribute from lesser peoples. But history is never so simple. Behind every battle lay spies, shifting loyalties, and mysteries that remain unsolved. Why did some Greek states side with Persia, while others resisted to the death? Why did Xerxes retreat when victory seemed within his grasp? Some say he was haunted by visions, others that his advisors betrayed him. What is certain is this: for the first time, Persia met a force it could not subdue. And yet, despite defeat in Greece, the Persian Empire endured. It remained vast, wealthy, and powerful, its palaces glowing with eternal fires, its roads pulsing with trade. But beneath the splendor, cracks had begun to form. The fall, Alexander's storm. 2 centuries after Cyrus, the empire that seemed eternal faced a storm it could not weather. From the west came Alexander of Macedon, a young king with burning eyes and unquenchable ambition. To some, he was a mere mortal. To others, a demigod, destined to end the line of Persian kings. In 331 BCE, Battle of Gaugamela. The Persian army, under Darius III, stretched vast across the plain, yet numbers could not stop destiny. Alexander struck with brilliance, and Darius fled, betrayed by his own men. Soon, Persepolis itself burned. Some say Alexander set the fire in drunken rage. Others claim it was revenge for Persian destruction in Greece. But the flames consumed more than palaces. They devoured centuries of knowledge, art, and secrets. The Persian Empire, born in mystery, died in fire. Or did it? For from its ashes, new dynasties would rise, carrying the spirit of Persia into new ages. 6. The Parthians, riders of the steppes. After Alexander's death, his generals carved the empire into pieces. Yet Persia was not truly conquered. From the steppes rode the Parthians, horse archers who struck like shadows. They created a new Persian empire, one that stood for nearly 5 centuries, battling Rome in endless wars that shook the ancient world. The Parthians were mysterious by nature, masters of the feigned retreat, luring enemies into traps with the infamous Parthian shot, firing arrows backward while riding at full speed. Rome called them barbarians, but in truth, they were heirs to Cyrus and Darius, guardians of Persia's heart. Their courts glittered with silk and jewels, their priests kept the sacred fire alive, and their kings were crowned, not by armies, but by the hand of fate. Yet the Parthians never sought to build monuments like their predecessors. They left behind few palaces, few writings, only whispers and ruins scattered across deserts. They were a dynasty wrapped in silence, as if they wanted history to guess at their secrets. The Sassanids, fire, faith, and destiny. By the 3rd century CE, a new power rose from the ashes, the Sassanid dynasty. Fiercer, more centralized, more ambitious than the Parthians, the Sassanids declared themselves heirs of Achaemenid glory. They revived Zoroastrianism as the state religion, building fire temples across the land, where sacred flames burned for centuries without dying. The Sassanids clashed with Rome, and later Byzantium, in wars that lasted lifetimes. Neither side could truly destroy the other, and so their struggle became eternal. Kings like Shapur I captured Roman emperors alive. Others forged treaties, only to break them when destiny demanded. But perhaps the greatest mystery of the Sassanids was their faith. Zoroastrianism was more than religion. It was philosophy, a cosmic battle between truth and lie, light and darkness. Some say echoes of this dualism influenced Christianity, Islam, and even modern thought. In Persia, every flame, every star, every human choice was part of this war. Was the empire itself merely a reflection of this eternal struggle? 8. The Islamic conquest, twilight of the old gods. By the 7th century, the Sassanid Empire stood weary. Centuries of war with Byzantium had drained its blood. Then, from the Arabian desert, came tribes united under a new faith, Islam. With fiery zeal, they struck swiftly, toppling armies far larger than their own. At the battles of Qadisiyah and Nahavand, the Sassanids fell. Their king fled east, their fire temples dimmed, and the ancient gods of Persia seemed to vanish into silence. Yet Persia did not die. It absorbed Islam, shaped it, and in time became its intellectual heart. Persian poets, scientists, and philosophers carried forward a legacy that was never extinguished. The mystery is this: how could an empire so great fall so quickly? Was it exhaustion, betrayal, or simply the hand of fate closing the final chapter of fire-worshipping kings? Perhaps the answer lies not in loss, but in transformation. For Persia's soul survived, not in palaces, but in words, ideas, and dreams. IX, the eternal mystery of Persia, the Persian Empire, in all its forms, the Achaemenid, Parthian, and Sassanid, was more than politics or conquest. It was an idea. The idea that unity could be built from diversity, that power could coexist with mercy, that empires could be more than tyranny. Even today, ruins of Persepolis rise like ghosts against the sky, reminding us that greatness is both fragile and eternal. The sacred fire may have dimmed, but the spirit of Persia burns on, in poetry, in philosophy, in the dreams of those who still whisper the name of Cyrus the Great. History remembers Persia not only as conqueror or conquered, but as a riddle, a mystery woven through time. Perhaps that is why its story still haunts us, because in Persia we see not just an empire, but the eternal struggle between light and darkness, glory and ruin, destiny and choice. And that struggle is not over.